Adrian Hale, a billionaire who thrived on control, returned to his sprawling Los Angeles mansion just past midnight, expecting the kind of silence only wealth could buy. The day had been grueling: boardroom battles, stock market swings, and a late-night flight from New York. All he wanted was the pristine calm of his perfectly curated home. But as he stepped through the marble foyer, a faint sound disrupted his peace: water running, persistent and out of place. His polished shoes clicked against the floor as he followed the noise down the dimly lit hallway, each step sharpening his irritation. The sound led him to the guest bathroom, a room rarely used but maintained to his exacting standards. He pushed the door open and froze, his breath catching at the sight before him. Lucy, his maid, sat slumped against the toilet in her faded blue uniform, yellow rubber gloves stained with grime. Strapped to her back in a fraying sling were two infants, dressed in bright orange onesies, their tiny heads nestled against her shoulders, fast asleep despite the chaos. Towels were haphazardly stacked along the baseboards, soaked from a leaking valve. A butter knife lay discarded by the toilet, its blade dulled from her desperate attempt to fix the plumbing. The scene was a violation of every rule in Adrian's meticulously ordered world, where dependents were forbidden on the job, no exceptions. His first instinct was to fire her, to enforce the policy that had kept his household as flawless as his empire. But what unfolded in the hours that followed would reshape his home, his heart, and the lives of everyone within those walls. Adrian's voice cut through the humid air like a blade. "Lucy, what is this?" Her eyes snapped open, wide with fear, but she steadied herself, one arm instinctively cradling the baby's. "Mr. Hale, please, don't raise your voice, they'll wake," she whispered, her tone urgent but calm. "The daycare flooded, my sitter didn't show. I had no one else. I brought them so I could work. I can't lose this job." Her words were a plea, but her posture held defiance, as if daring him to judge her. Adrian's anger surged, his jaw tightening. "You brought infants into a bathroom with bleach, tools, and a broken valve? Are you out of your mind?" Lucy didn't flinch, though her hands trembled slightly, red welts visible where the gloves had rubbed her skin raw. "You're hosting investors tomorrow. You demanded this bathroom shine." The valve jammed, water was spilling. "I called maintenance, they said they'd come tomorrow. I couldn't let your floor flood. I fixed it." Her voice cracked but held firm, a mother's resolve anchoring every syllable. "I did what you asked, Mr. Hale. I made it spotless. You should be called me," Adrian snapped, his tone sharp enough to wound. "I tried," Lucy replied, her gaze unwavering. "Your assistant said you were in meetings. Tomorrow was too late for your standards. So I used what I had: a knife, my hands, and two kids who need formula by morning. This isn't recklessness. It's survival." Adrian's eyes flicked to the soaked towels, the butter knife, the twins breathing softly against her back. "Mateo and Daniel, 7 months old," she said when he asked their names, her chin lifting with quiet pride. "They're not sick, not trouble. They're mine." "You broke policy," Adrian said, his voice flat but less certain. "HR will demand your termination tomorrow." Lucy's response was immediate, cutting through the air. "Then fire me tonight. Tell me now if I'm walking home with them on my back or waiting for a bus that never comes. Don't leave me guessing." Her boldness stunned him. He rubbed his forehead, the weight of his empire suddenly feeling heavier than ever. You don't understand the risk this poses for me, he said. And you don't understand the risk I face every day, she shot back. Stay home, they starve. Bring them, I break your rule. Either way, I lose. But tonight, I fixed your problem and kept them safe. Tell me, Mr. Hale, who failed here? Silence fell, broken only by the faint ticking of the flush valve, like a metronome counting down his decision. Adrian crouched beside the toilet, his tailored suit out of place against the damp tiles. He twisted the valve, securing it with a practiced turn, and the water drip ceased. Standing, he brushed his hands off. You could hurt yourself with that knife, he said, quieter now. But I didn't, Lucy replied, her voice soft but edged with steel. And the leak's gone. Adrian studied her exhaustion etched into her face, her back straight despite the weight of her twins. You broke the rule, he repeated, but the words lacked their earlier bite. I did, she said simply. He exhaled sharply. You're not walking anywhere tonight. Take the downstairs guest room. We'll talk tomorrow. Tears welled in Lucy's eyes, but she turned her head, hiding them. I don't need pity, she whispered. This isn't pity, Adrian said, his voice firm. You did more for this house tonight than anyone on my payroll. As security's radio crackled closer, Adrian stepped into the hall, blocking their view. She fixed a leak, he told Diego, the night guard, his tone leaving no room for questions. Stand down. Diego hesitated, eyeing the sling on Lucy's back, but nodded and retreated. In the kitchen, Adrian opened the fridge, pulling out a bottle of milk. His hands, more accustomed to signing contracts than warming bottles, fumbled but persisted. He heated the milk, testing it awkwardly on his wrist before handing it to Lucy. You don't have to do this, she said, her voice barely audible. I do, he replied, watching as she fed Daniel, Mateo still asleep against her chest. The soft rhythm of their breathing filled the room. I could fire you, Adrian said, leaning against the counter. It'd save me the headache. It's what everyone expects. Lucy looked up, eyes glistening. Then why don't you? Because I saw the towels, your hands, the way you kept two infants calm while fixing a leak with a butter knife, he said, his voice rough with something new respect. I built this empire demanding perfection, but I missed the truth. People don't live inside rules. They live inside emergencies. Lucy's lip trembled. I'm not asking for favors, just a chance to work without choosing between my sons and food. Adrian nodded. You'll have it. I'm rewriting the policy effective immediately. Emergency childcare clause, paid leave for missed shifts, a nursery by the gym. Her eyes widened. You're serious? Dead serious, he said. Lucy shook her head, recalling her mother, a maid who was family until she needed a sick day. I've heard promises before. Don't trust my words, Adrian said. Trust the changes. By dawn, HR stormed in with termination papers, citing clause violations. Adrian pushed them back. Rewrite it. Emergency childcare exceptions, immediate pay for missed shifts, a nursery now. They balked at the cost. Flooded marble costs more. Cynicism costs more. Do it, he ordered. Lucy, standing in the doorway with Daniel, whispered, You meant it. Adrian met her gaze. Show me how you got that valve open with a knife. She laughed, tears spilling. Deal. That evening, investors filled the mansion, crystal glasses clinking, marble floors gleaming under chandeliers. None saw the nursery blueprints on Adrian's desk, a project he'd fund personally. When asked what kept him awake, he didn't mention markets or rivals. "The fear I'm tidy, not good," he said quietly. Lucy left with Matteo and Daniel asleep in her arms, pausing at the elevator. "You could have made an example of me." "I did," Adrian replied, "a different kind." His reflection in the glass doors showed a man changed not by wealth, but by 2 babies in orange and a mother's defiance, forcing him to rewrite his rules and his legacy. The next morning, Lucy returned, not as a maid teetering on the edge of dismissal, but as the catalyst for change. The nursery project began, contractors measuring the gym's unused corner while HR drafted the new policy under Adrian's watchful eye. He insisted on specifics: flexible hours for parents, on-site childcare for emergencies, and a fund for unexpected daycare closures. Lucy's name wasn't on the documents, but her story was etched into every line. Staff whispered about the shift, some skeptical, others relieved. The head of HR, a man known for rigid adherence to protocol, cornered Adrian. "This sets a precedent. Others will expect exceptions." Adrian didn't blink. "Good. Let them expect humanity." Lucy worked her shift that day, Matteo and Daniel safely in a temporary crib set up in the staff lounge. She moved through the mansion with the same quiet efficiency, but her shoulders were lighter, her eyes less guarded. Adrian passed her in the hallway, pausing to check the bathroom. The marble was flawless, the valve secure. "You're wasted on toilets," he said, half joking. Lucy smiled, a rare softness in her expression. "I'm good at fixing things." "You're learning that." He chuckled, a sound foreign to his usual severity. Weeks later, the nursery opened a small room with bright walls, cribs, and a changing station. Lucy was the first to use it, dropping off her twins before her shift. Other staff followed, a cook with a toddler, a gardener whose wife worked nights. The mansion, once a sterile monument to Adrian's wealth, began to hum with life: crayon scribbles on a breakroom board, a rattle left on a counter. Investors noticed nothing, but the staff felt the change. Adrian's empire hadn't softened, but it had expanded to include those who kept it running. Lucy never spoke of that night again, but her presence lingered in the policy manual, in the nursery's existence, in the way Adrian now asked his staff, "What do you need?" instead of "What went wrong?" He built his fortune on precision, but Lucy taught him that perfection without compassion was just noise. The twins, Matteo and Daniel, grew older, their orange onesies swapped for tiny sneakers that pattered through the nursery. And Adrian, once a man who demanded silence, found himself listening to the laughter of children, the gratitude of a mother, and the quiet truth that rules, when broken for the right reasons, could rebuild a home.